You're probably losing money on every single job that you quote, and you don't even know that you are. And I'm going to tell you about a situation that I found myself in yesterday that might help you out in your own business. So, I was giving a pretty substantial quote to a commercial property. And like most commercial jobs, this was a competitive situation. On jobs of this size and scope, typically there are at least three estimates that are required. And this one was no different. So, I was contacted by a management company. I got back in touch with them and set up a time to go and talk the property. And yes, I said talk, not walk, because I don't really need anybody out there to show me what needs to be cleaned. What I do need is somebody out there to talk to so I can get the information that I need in order to provide a good quote that I think will get us the job. Now, commercial properties are a completely different animal, especially when you're talking about jobs that are going to pay out $20, $30, $50,000. Now, my approach to commercial properties, it's pretty different than it is to residential, but let me tell you what happened. So I get a message from my service that I need to call this person back, that they had a substantial job, and I'm not going to tell you what it is or what kind of property it is, because like I said, I gave the estimate yesterday, and I don't know who they're going to go with. I have a pretty good idea that I'm going to get the job because of some of the things that I learned when interacting with the human on the property that I'm going to share with you. But I also know that a lot of these guys in my area watch my channel, and I don't want to give them any ammunition to go back and do anything different. But with that being said, I make my appointment, I meet at the property, and we do our walk and we do our talk. And I ask the questions that I always ask, which, like I said, provides me with the information that I need. And in this process, I learned that two other companies had already been out and they had already provided their estimates. We put together the most intensive training the industry has ever seen. Over 6 hours of in-depth training on the best methods for cleaning houses, roofs, driveways, how to wash covers, the chemicals to use, how to mix them, the equipment, the best methods to make you the most efficient and profitable, safety and property protection, specialty chemicals. So don't wait, click the link below. And like I said, big project, probably 7 to 9 days on site, some minor logistical things that we need to consider, which add time, which add money. And after a little bit of discussion, I was provided with both of those companies' estimates, the actual hard copies of their estimates, and my mind was absolutely blown away when I looked at them. You see, as I'm walking around and I'm looking at the property, I already know how long it's going to take us. I know how much I want to make, but I also have a pretty good understanding of my market and where my competition probably will be based on years and years of experience, years and years of quoting, years of losing jobs, years of getting jobs, as well as fine-tuning my approach to the sales process, the quoting process. And I'm not talking about utilizing something like Quote IQ to generate estimates, send invoices, just make us look professional. I'm talking about fine-tuning my on-site script, if you will, the interaction, the questions. There is a tremendous amount of psychology involved throughout the entire process. And I share all of this in our one-on-one training that we do. It's an 8-week program, live Zoom calls with business owners just like you that are ready to up their game. And I'll put a link down there if you're interested in that. And like I said, I was familiar with one of the other companies, and I also knew what my price was going to be, or at least what I thought it should be before I even pulled up on the property, because I'd looked it up. I was familiar with it. Before I went and talked to the person that I talked to, I drove around the property. I saw what I was dealing with. I understood the scope of work, and now I had a firm understanding of how dirty it was and what it would take to get it clean. So I had my number in my head. And that is why my mind was blown away, because the company that I was familiar with was a reputable company. And they'd been in business for a long time. And they were less than half the price that I had in my mind. Half. And that is from a company that I thought highly of. And they were like half the price. This is a big job. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of equipment you have. And I know what they're working with, and it ain't like ours. You are leaving a shit ton of money on the table, pissing it away, actually opening your window and throwing probably $10,000 out the window. And for what reason? Because whoever was quoting didn't know what they were doing, right? Because they didn't know their overhead. They didn't know their costs. They didn't know their market. I don't know. But when I read that, this person apparently read my reaction and said that they thought the same thing when they saw their quote. And that quote was thrown out the window. That company loses all credibility because they were that cheap. They were undervaluing themselves that much. And cheap is bad in a lot of scenarios, especially when I look at the other quote, and it's more in line with what the number that I had in my head was. In fact, I thought they quoted it a little bit high, but that is perfect because these two numbers, while significantly different for the same project, the same service, were light years apart. So you have the one that is so low, and then you have the other one that is a little bit higher than what I was thinking, which puts me in a phenomenal situation. So they get the first number and it was low. They had a pretty good idea it was low, which was confirmed when the next guy comes in and gives his price. But now the question is that second price they got on point, or is it priced too high, which is great because now we've got kind of an anchoring effect going on, right? And now I have the ability to basically pull all the information I need from this person, find out their pain points, find out what was said in the other interactions with the other companies, which allows me to dissect and then determine how I want to go about quoting this. And of course, we want this job. So I submitted my estimate, and I'm going to tell you where I fell after we talk about how you could also be leaving money on the table. Okay. You see, small business owners in the service industry, they oftentimes end up leaving money on the table by underpricing themselves, just like the first guy did. And it might seem like a good way to attract more customers, get some more business, get some more jobs, but it actually has some pretty bad unintended consequences for your business, but more importantly, your reputation. When you charge too little, you're opening up yourself for scrutiny because now potential customers are going to question the quality of the work that you do. Plus, it can be really hard to cover your costs and make a decent profit when you're pricing so cheap. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people that get into the businesses like this, they don't have a firm understanding of how a business truly operates, all the costs that need to be covered. In order to make a profit, you need to understand all of these numbers almost on a daily basis. So you're pricing and you're quoting with intelligence, you're pricing strategically, you're pricing to make money and stay in business. Now, there is a reason why so many businesses fail because people think, hey, I can go out and I can do this job or I can provide this service. And yeah, you can do those things. But if you don't understand the business side, you're not going to be around for very long. And the other thing is when you're underpricing, it makes it really tough to reinvest in your business, right? In your marketing in order to attain more customers, to get better equipment, to pay yourself what you need or you want to be making. Not to mention, it can make it way harder to attract the right customers, the best customers who pay the best prices, because it's not about price with a lot of people. It's about presentation. It's about service. It's about the customer experience. And when you throw them a price they know is too cheap, they don't want to do business with you. And yeah, there are going to be some cheap asses out there that take you up on that low price, and you can have them. But trust me, that's not who you want to be working for. So while it may be tempting to go cheap to undercut everybody else trying to get some work, finding the right balance between affordability and value for your customers is the key to long-term success. And we have all the tools that you need in Quote IQ so you have a firm understanding of your business, your expenses, your overhead, what your hourly rate should be, what you need to be charging in order to be profitable. So please dive deep into your books. Keep track of everything. Study your numbers because data drives decisions. And this data is what's going to separate you from the guys that are out there selling their equipment, going out of business, and going back to work for somebody else. And so now the question is, where did I land on this job? Well, I quoted $1,000 less than the other guy. And I said that if they book with us within a specific time frame, I'd knock another $500 off. And guess what? It is still going to be a highly profitable job for us. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope I get that job. Would love to hear your thoughts on what you saw today. Where would you have been? And don't forget to check out Quote IQ if you want the best tool to run your business the most efficiently, the most effectively, the most profitably. Thanks for watching.